everyone, and welcome. I'm Shruthi from the Google Cloud product team, and joining me is Gautam, again from Google Cloud product team, and as well as Surya from Macy's. Over the next 35 minutes, we are going to tackle one of the biggest challenges in FinOps right now, getting deeper visibility and stronger controls over your GenAI costs. And we have a great session planned. First, we'll set the stage with what we are seeing across the GenAI FinOps landscape. Next, we'll get under the hood of our FinOps explainability agent and then show you how to build a defensive playbook using GCP's native tools. Finally, I'll hand it over to Macy's to share how they are tackling these exact challenges in the real world. So let's dive right in. So how is FinOps looking like in the AI era? Since we integrated with Gemini Cloud Assist, we saw a surge in cost reports adoption by 75%, while simultaneously our customers spent 18% less time doing cost analysis. And we also saw great growth in our cost controls, with nearly 80% of Google Cloud revenue being managed by you through our Google Cloud billing budgets. Further, the total value of Google Cloud committed use discounts grew by over 80% last year. So keep using our FinOps hub and really take advantage of those recommendations because they do help keep you stay efficient. What's interesting to see from the State of Foundation's FinOps reports this year is that optimization is actually starting to fall down the list of concerns. But guess what's rising up to the top? That's right, FinOps for AI. AI cost management has now taken the #1 spot in the list of growing concerns for FinOps over optimization for the first time ever. And it's no surprise because we are seeing it too. AI financial management has caused some frustration, especially around topics such as, what's driving my bills? Are these costs normal? How do I set a boundary against these costs that rack up so quickly? So while we have cloud simplifying AI, we are here to talk about how we can also drive even more simplification with AI financial management. With that, I'll invite my colleague Gautam to talk about the foundation of FinOps for AI, which is deeper visibility into your AI costs.
Speaking of FinOps for AI, how many of you know who Alan Turing is? Alan Turing is widely recognized as the father of AI, and he said, "Machines take me by surprise with great frequency." Now, in our line of work, we know what surprises he was talking about. Cost surprises. And from speaking with all of you, we know that when these surprises happen, there's two things that are top of mind. First, you want to know, was there a business value created? Where did this cost come from? What business unit? Which product? So you can trace the exact ROI from this cost. And the second is when there's a spike, you need to quickly get to the bottom of it. You need to know which user caused it, what particular piece of infrastructure, so you can then start remediating it. So we heard loud and clear that these two are important. And as we dived into it, we found that there is a new paradigm in cost management coming in with AI. And this is primarily underpinned on the explosion of data cardinality. There's way more dimensions, starting with the user and access points. You might have API keys, service accounts, user IDs, so on and so forth. Many ways to access AI. You might want to know where in your AI application architecture the cost came from. Is there a particular job, a particular agent skill? You want to get to the bottom of where this cost came from. And then you want to get down to which model drove the cost, what modality, what serving type, to be able to find out. And ultimately, when you know the cost, you want to match it to your token usage. We heard that this conference is going to become Tokenomicon. I hope I said that right, next year. So tokens are important, and costs ultimately are driven by these tokens, so you need to be able to match them. And when you have this huge explosion in data, it adds complexity in combing through all of this, analyzing all the costs, figuring out what drove it. And you need to do this fast because AI costs rack up extremely quickly. So more dimensions, more complexity, more risks. This is why we built the AI cost explainability agent. It gives you analytical depth. It combs through every single dimension in your FinOps datasets. It brings precision. It is able to identify that one driver or that one piece of infrastructure that caused a cost spike or that caused an anomaly. And it does this fast. It gives you a response in under 60 seconds very often to help you get started and quickly understand where did this trend start from and what happened. And there's a whole range of questions that you can ask this agent. These are all questions you've told us are important. We see our support channels, we see the questions you mark as important, and we've trained it on those. Ultimately, our goal is to give you absolute control and visibility over your costs. And there's a wide range of questions. We talked about the model level questions. What did I spend on Gemini 3 Pro? It could be access points, which API key, which service account caused a spike. You might want to know what the usage associated was. How many input tokens did I spend? What was the pricing of those input tokens? This is able to answer all of these questions and give you a summarized view in short order. Now, we've heard from a lot of you that you all are also building FinOps agents to power your own cost understanding. So from going through the process of building this agent, we wanted to share a few learnings that we have. The first is around latency and cost management, because this costs money, being able to generate these summaries and everything, and you want to make it efficient. And the second is around quality, because high fidelity answers are very important when it comes to cost management. So let's dive into the first one, latency and cost management. So the first principle we use here is model orchestration, where if you give us a query, we will break it out into a series of subtasks. And these subtasks are then fed to a series of specialized models. So if we have a subtask that requires analytical reasoning, we will send that over to our frontier compute intense models. If there are simpler tasks, for example, writing up a summary, creating a visual, these go to our lightweight flash models, which are very low latency and also cheaper to use. Now you have this range of tasks that are going in. The second principle here is parallel execution, where all of these are executed in parallel. So you don't have a chain of events that are waiting on each other, but rather they're happening in real time behind the scenes. And this basically results in our decoupled execution pipelines, which allow us to move fast and also tune the costs to spend it wisely, spend money where it's needed, and also optimize where the tasks are simpler. The second frontier is quality. FinOps has zero tolerance for close enough or approximate answers. You want to know exactly what is happening. So the first is we set very strict RAG boundaries. We don't let the AI guess where to look. We have mapped out a rigid taxonomy of FinOps dimensions, and we strictly box the agent so it only pulls from verified data. This allows us to maintain a very high quality bar. Now, the second thing we do is continuous multi-shot evaluation. So at every stage, we have loops that go vet the model's thinking and its outputs. So well before you see that final answer or that final number, we are assessing every stage of that process to make sure there are no errors and to catch any issues that might arise. The third is semantic density contextizing. So imagine you have a huge volume of logs. If you feed all of this into the model, to the token limit max, it gets distracted. It doesn't know where exactly to look. So we are smartly and contextually determining the context sizes to be able to focus on what matters. So if you have an anomaly, what should the correct context size there be for us to be able to look at the right signals and give you the answer? All of those sound very cool, but ultimately, what comes in after all of this is human testing. Automated guardrails are great, But our entire team is hammering this agent with edge case FinOps questions and questions that matter to all of you to make sure that the outputs actually add value to a human being, actually fit into your workflows. And the person trying the hardest to break this system every single day is me. So if you have any questions, please come tell me. I will be more than thrilled to go ensure that this agent is solving those needs. So to wrap this all up, we have built the FinOps explainability agent for you so that you can analyze your AI costs and trends with depth, combing through every single dimension there is, precision, figuring out that needle in the haystack, what caused a trend or an increase, and speed. So you have your answers quickly. Now, Shruthi says I have a couple of minutes more, so I'll tell you a little story. We talked about Alan Turing. You know, you're cracking the code of AI cost management here. Alan Turing wasn't able to crack that code. He buried his life savings in a park, and he wrote up a code of where exactly he buried it, and he was never able to crack that code. So he never found his life savings. But this agent will crack the code of AI cost management for all of you. With that, I'll pass it on to Shruthi, who will talk about cost controls. It's not enough if you can only see your costs. You also need to be able to place the governance and controls in place to ensure that you operate within your budgets.
Thank you, Gautam. And that was supposed to be my line. But anyhow, now that you have deeper visibility into your costs, of course, the next question is, how do I control those costs? We all understand that with GenAI, simply looking at your requests per second no longer predicts your bill, making the risk of sudden, regrettable surprises incredibly acute. Our existing cost control tools alert, but by the time you look at the alert and take some action, the costs have skyrocketed. There are mechanisms to enforce. We do have them, but they are long-winded, needing you to write custom JSON scripts or configure complex IAM roles. So the need of the hour is for us to accelerate proactive financial guardrails to give developers the safety net to experiment, because let's face it, if you are afraid of the next bill, you cannot innovate. But here's the catch. Setting up these guardrails cannot be a convoluted process. To actually empower teams to innovate with GenAI, the safety net has to be effortless. So how do we effortlessly set up a GCP defense playbook? We start with first understanding your day-to-day spend variances. Understanding this variance will help you stay aligned with your budgets. In Q4 last year, we announced cost anomaly detection to be generally available, and this launch included improvements that made the product smarter, more proactive, more automatic, and more customizable to suit your needs. This included automatic AI-generated intelligent thresholds for your projects based on your past spending behavior, flexible filtering that included an additional threshold for percent deviation, auto alerts by default, just knowing that if identifying anomalies is not enough if you don't see them. So you should know this by default. So now we proactively send alerts to let you know that there has been a cost spike on your projects. And then lastly, protection from the get-go. In our public preview last year, we said that cost anomaly detection is only available on projects that have at least 6 months of spend data. But our now improved algorithm provides protection from the get-go, solving this cold start problem, and you are protected from day one on your brand new accounts and brand new projects. So this tool will basically help you identify a pattern with your services and help you narrow down the most anomalous services, the ones that need enforcement guardrails. And to help you set those enforcement guardrails, we have now introduced spend caps on Google Cloud billing budgets, where we will shift from reactive alerting to proactive automated enforcement on Cloud Budgets tool that you're already using today. With a single click, you can now put a cost boundary around unpredictable AI traffic, stopping runaway spend right in its tracks without deleting resources or impacting your infrastructure. And you can do this without the need for any custom IAM role or automation scripts. This is an out-of-the-box tool that is available for all customers. It is currently in private preview, with a public preview coming up soon. So how does it work? Setting up spend caps on GCP is as easy as it gets. You can access it from the budgets tool, where you can choose to set up either an alerts only budget or a spend cap budget. For now, spend cap budget's default time frame is monthly. That is, you can only set a monthly budget, spend cap budget, and it can only be set at a per project, per service basis right now. When the cost for the specific service reaches the threshold that you have set, a usage block is enforced, stopping any new requests to that service. All other services in that project and all other projects in your account remain unaffected. And that is what makes this a one-click, non-destructive guardrail that does not impact the rest of your ecosystem and only attacks the service that is causing runaway spend. Any notifications or alerts related to spend-capped budgets is sent by default to all billing administrators and project owners associated with that project. Further, suspending or lifting the cap is equally easy. Once you have remediated the spike, all you need to do is click Suspend Spend Cap from the tool and resume normal operations. It is equally easy to adjust the cap, raise it, or delete it altogether. Currently, only users with the roles of billing administrators and project owners are able to configure or suspend a spend cap. Lastly, you can easily monitor all your budgets, including spend capped ones and alert-only ones, from your existing budget dashboard. So, our native cost control tools, which is anomaly detection and spend caps, make for a robust cost control ecosystem that helps you track your day-to-day spend variance with the ability to enforce boundaries where needed. This is the defense playbook with GCP to manage your AI spend. And this is the next-gen FinOps for the AI era. Our FinOps AI explainability agent to see and our spend caps to protect. With that, I'd like to invite Surya from Macy's to the stage. He's going to talk about the real-world challenges that they are facing in managing AI spend and how they are using GCP's native tools to solve them. Surya, over to you.
Thanks, Shruthi. Good afternoon. I'm Surya Duggirala from the Macy's. I manage the FinOps team along with many other things. The major issue we have, like Shruthi mentioned, is AI costs. To get into that, we'll start with my team. Ours is a very centralized, small team. Most of the duties are already distributed to different teams. As a FinOps team of 3 people, we set the governance, we set the rules, and we follow a pre-built framework that generates alerts for us based on the anomalies, and those alerts will go to different teams to work on it. And this is where we identified one of the patterns where we start spending a lot on the AI. On April, when we got one of these alerts, which said we overspent on 417 compared to a 416. It's a lot increase, it's almost 732% increase. Now, this alert came to us after 2 days. As you all know, the billing in Google comes after 48 hours. So we didn't know anything about 2 days. By the time we got the alert, we already spent $11,000. Then my team has to spend hours looking into what happened, where the cost came from, why it increased. And that's where it happened. So it happened on the 17th, and by the time we know on the 19th, we already lost a lot of money, and then we started investigating, then we put some controls. It took total almost 5 days to figure out and fix it. That's when we started working with the Google and look at these new tools that came to us. So when this happened in May, we got a similar alert. They said, yes, there is a small increase in Vertex AI. We were able to go directly to the Explainability agent. And we were able to give a prompt saying that really what caused the cost increase, the previous day to this day, and really where I spend the money. Right? The prompt specifically says, where did I spend and what caused the increase and what is driving the increase. So the agent able to give us very precise data back to us in minutes. Actually, we don't have to spend hours and hours understanding where the problem is and how to concentrate on where to look for, which team to look at, which team I need to contact, and how to fix these things. Right. We identified that most of the spikes are related to the training, and something was not previously not told to us. So that's where we had to reach out to the team and ask them that why this training was done as ad hoc and what can we do. And then we put some guardrails on top of that. And to fix this thing, not wait for the 48 hours, we put the spend cap. Our budget for this particular project is about $8,000 per month. So we went to set a spend alert for $6,000. And then say once you're 6,000, we'll get alerts. But we also configured an email that comes to the billing admin as well as the project owner at 50% and also at 80%. And based on that, we were able to catch it once it reaches 6,000, even though it's within the budget. It automatically stopped the spending. We got an email saying that this particular service is stopped. We were able to go back and look at it. It's a legitimate spend. We were able to go and just remove the spend cap so the project can go on. But at the same time, we can go back and reinitiate another alert at probably $8,000. Based on that, we have some key takeaways. This tool really helped us, especially reducing most of our manual work. Explainability agent able to point exactly where the problem was. And the spend cap is able to stop the bleeding in 10 minutes, not wait for 48 to 72 hours. And what are the things we really need to enhance these tools to help us better? Right now, the spend cap is at monthly level. If somebody tries to spend a lot in one day, all my budget is gone in a day. I can't control earlier. One of the requests we have is, can we have this at an hourly level? Can I control at the hourly level? You won't be able to spend more than this much amount. Another one we are asking is it possible to set up, irrespective of what AI service I'm using, I want to set a budget at a project level. Or irrespective of projects or business units, can I set a spend at a particular AI service? I don't want to spend anything more than a particular amount on Gemini service or Vertex AI. So those kind of enhancements we are requesting. And once we have those things, I think we should be able to manage it much better. Another one we are also looking at is, right now this service is only for the AI related services. Can this be extended to other Google spends? Probably more like a logging or monitoring, where we see a lot of spend happening in those areas, where somebody deploys a debug log into production, and by the time we realize, we already spent a lot of money. So those are new requests we have. The last one is about the BigQuery data and the related data flow jobs and the corresponding spend we are seeing. With that, I think this tools really helps a lot on controlling the AI costs. With that, we'll come to an end, and we'll open it for any questions, and I invite Shruthi and Gautam back to the stage if you have any questions to answer.
Louder. Thank you.
All right. We clearly
Do you have any
underestimated the
questions?
time.
On the explainability agent, is it available as a default feature for customers like me in the console itself now, or can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, it is in the console, available to all users on the billing overview page. Yeah, it should be available to you to use.
Great, thank you. We'll check it out.
Hi, yeah, I really enjoy the feature of the cost control, but one thing that came to mind when you were explaining it is it seems rather disruptive to the business when you have to go in and suspend these cost controls. So if we're expanding that to other, I think the one thing that I worry about as a practitioner is getting in the way of the business actually doing what it needs to do rather than just alerting on the budget. So from your from using this, did you find that when you did hit your spend cap, that it just shut everything off? Like, did the business stop? Like, what? I guess could you go into a little bit more detail on that piece? What does that look like in practice?
You're asking Macy's?
I mean, both of you, I guess. What's the expected? How did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell you the expected, and he can tell you what really happened with them. So the expected is that it would not disrupt. The intention is not to disrupt the ecosystem or the infrastructure. This is very specific to AI services. So it is API-based services. So basically, what that means is that if we just block any new requests going in, so you just won't be able to use that AI service and make any more requests. Yes, if you have agents that are deployed that are running on these services, they're going to be stopped and blocked. But I feel like the need for the hour, I mean, this is very specific if you have extreme runaway spend cases where like, it doesn't matter, stop my agent, but stop it from increasing my spend. Like that's the use case this will solve. So yes, it might be disruptive in that sense, but you want to block the agent, you want to stop that service at some point. So that is, but it does not impact the rest of your project, any other services, the rest of your account, so it's not destructive in the bigger sense. But Macy's used it, so yeah.
Yeah, so it actually stops the whole process. So there was a small business impact when this happened. So they were actually using the Gemini to generate test cases. So it's not a real business impact, but actually it's impacted the development team. So their process stopped. So then they reached out to us and we were able to restore it in 15 minutes.
So we have our machine learning platform using Vertex AI. So it's a platform on platform. So we have like data scientists using machine learning platform. Is there a way to shut down like a specific job that like one team is running within that project? Because to the previous question, we don't want to block everyone, but we want to block the bad behaviors. So is there any thought as to getting more granular down to maybe labels that you can tag or that you can indicate like we want to cap an individual, you know, workflow at X amount per day, because otherwise I anticipate this being pretty disruptive.
Yeah. So yes, we do have plans to increase the granularity. Right now, this is only at the whole entire service level. So it will block the entire service no matter what is running on that service. But yes, we do have plans to add more additional dimensions to it, such as models or like service accounts. Or we have heard a bunch of requests from customers for all of these different granular levels down to the user. So we do have that in consideration, and we do acknowledge that this is something that needs to be addressed. So we do have plans to make this more and more meaningful for you guys.
Hey, question on the cloud cap. Given that GCP billing is delayed by 24 to 48 hours, let's say we have added cloud cap for a project by service, right? So the consumption is happening now, but the billing comes after 24 to 48 hours. So how does the process that is running now is going to be controlled, which eventually comes out in the form of the bill in next 48 hours?
That is a great question. So we have actually made some billing improvements, especially for AI services, where we are able to actually cap your spend within minutes, up to like, I don't have a number, but like good case 10 minutes, but like not 24 hours. So we have made those improvements, but these are specifically for AI services. The nuance over there, though, is that those are estimated costs, because to make it faster than the actual costs, there you have to make estimations and remove all the credits. So right now, spend caps for the AI services, which includes Gemini API and Vertex AI, happens pretty quickly within minutes from usage, but on estimated costs. And then once you cap it, you can fix it. The actual costs will come in at the regular latency.
Great. One more question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So let's say if I'm adding a cloud cap on the shared services like logging, for example. So, but whereas my workloads like Dataflow, Dataproc runs, but that cloud cap is not there on those services, but the downstream is logging, right? Which eventually get the logging event from these workloads, right? So I have a cloud cap on the logging, but not on the actual workloads. So how does the cloud cap works in that manner?
So right now in this phase, we only have this cap available for stateless API-based services, which includes AI services, Gemini API, Vertex AI, and then we have it on Cloud Run Functions, and Maps. Certain other services like cloud logging, BigQuery, and storage, compute, all of those are stateful services where stopping them means more destructive nature than actually just stopping a further request. And all of this, as you mentioned, all of these services use underlying other services too. So as of now, SpendCaps is very focused on API-based AI services and not on the others. But that's not to say that we don't have that in scope. It is in our plan. We just have to get more user feedback on how can we do that efficiently without destroying your infrastructure.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, as you said, right, our services are stopping, right? If you reach the limit, is there any way, like, instead of stopping, slow down the service, something like that?
Throttling, yes, we have received that piece too. It is not there right now, but we understand that enterprise-based customers do prefer throttling and not just like blockage. So that will be something that we will do it. I think that person behind.
Hello. Do you have any rough approximations on when spend caps for the services it's currently enabled for in private preview will be GA?
Yes, we are planning for a public preview pretty soon, in mostly a month. My engineering team is right here. So yeah, we are hoping to get it out in public preview in a month or so. But that does not end the incremental additions that we will keep adding to it. SpendCaps is just getting started. We plan to add more services. We plan to add more granularity, add more features. We plan to make sure SpendCaps is as meaningful as it can be for your GenAI costs.
Thank you. And then follow up to that, what services or maybe like the highest priority services are next in scope for spend caps?
I can tell you what services are on it right now. There's Gemini API, Vertex AI, Cloud Run Functions, and Maps. If there is any particular service that you would like to see, you can drop us a feedback at our booth, and we will take that into consideration. Any other questions? Yeah.
Okay, we can't throw that. Might have to repeat.
So when you meet your spend cap
Yeah.
and you notify the billing admins about what has happened, is there a detailed summary that is given to them about this is what has happened, this is why, and then they can remediate from there? Or is it just that you met your spend cap and it's up to the practitioner to figure out what's going on?
So because SpendCap is very specifically set to the service and the project, you pretty much know that this is the project that is impacted and this is the service. So half of your analysis sort of like is taken away, you know what to target. But why did it cross the breach? Why did it breach the threshold? I think that is something you can check from the explainability agent. So if you go in there and ask this question to our AI agent, it'll tell you. We don't right now send that in the email.
Hey everyone, producer Andrew here. Thanks for watching. Check out the rest of our channel for more FinOps content. Like, subscribe, and leave questions and comments for our speakers. We appreciate your support.